Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome to episode 109 of The Hungry Gamers. I am your incredibly humble host, Saleem Abraham, and I'm joined today by the best of the four other hosts of this podcast now. Five other hosts of this podcast now. Which host do I have on the line here?
Caller? I'm listening. Wouldn't it be three hosts, one rotating chair? Hi, this is Miss Sally Hart.
Thank you.
Professional provider of SaaS.
Everything else you said was not important. I just needed your name. Jokes. We are, of course, powered by 8-Bit and Audio-Technica. I'm pretty sure I missed that bit, even though I made a point of writing it down.
You were very organised with that. It's unfortunate.
I'm no good. I'm really no good at introing the show. Maybe if Brendan's going to miss shows from now on, he should pre-record the intro.
It's just his little sassy start. Well, hey, I've got nothing to say because I've never hosted a show because I'm not ready for that. I'm here to bring the zingers and to the profanity, the crudeness.
We throw the ball to you. You take a knife, stab the ball, and then you throw the empty little pigskin back.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
That's how you roll. I like
Throw
that.
the old
We
pigskin.
should, if you want to intro the show, you can record your intro and send it through to us. This is happening. I don't give a shit. So actually, if you want to intro the show, record a little snippet, send it through to hello@8bit.net, or reach out to us on the Twitter and let us know how you can Dropbox that to us. We're bad at it. Anyway.
Brendan's I've been gone one episode and now we have a new thing.
I'm turning this show on its fucking head, and it is about time. Brendan isn't with us. He is jet setting around lovely New Zealand, I believe, right now. He's over, I don't know if he's in North Island, I don't know if he's in South Island, but I know that he's in one of the islands. Do you have any idea?
Chilly down there. I've got no idea where the islands are and what city. I think Wellington's in the north, right? Am I wrong?
Oh my god, this is awful. I have no idea.
I'm probably gonna get smacked by a few Kiwis after hearing this.
You know what I do know? My good friend just came back from New Zealand, and she told me that they have 6-hour days. Like the sun is only up for 6 or 8 hours.
I don't know how I feel about that because I'm like a chicken. Like a chicken only wakes up when the sun rises, and then when the sun sets, the chicken goes to bed. I'm very much like that. So 6-hour day just sounds dangerous to me. I could be driving home and then all of a sudden it's bedtime.
Yeah, but put it this way, lots of sleep. Lots of sleep if that's how you live.
No, I don't think that's how I live. I don't think I run on a lot of sleep. The person that wakes up every morning at 5 a.m. Yeah. I'm
needing more and more as I get on in and it's not even get on in years. It's get on this year. We're 6 months in this year.
Don't
and
get
I
me
think
started.
At the start of the year I was good with 5-6 hours. Now I'm getting 9 hours and still tired. It's only going to get worse. I'm going to hibernate like a bear, I think. Eventually.
Well, it is the cold season, so make sure you save your nuts and sleep for the winter.
Believe me, Ali, I've been saving these nuts for years. Mate, what have you been playing?
Oh boy. So I tried to mix it up a bit because in all honesty, all I have been playing is The Hunter, but you guys have heard that a bunch of times now. So, still shooting animals in the asshole. Still getting really good at it. I am now the bear hunter, just so you all know. I am good at killing bears. However, I have been playing Octopath Traveller. They had a demo on the Switch. Just for just for the intro of that game being released on the Switch, and it's good because your save does move over to when the game's released. I gave this game a risk because I don't usually play these kind of games, your little 16-bit RPG kind of things. But I know someone someone I follow on Twitter is actually a big fan of it. I can't remember who it is now, and I'm probably going to get sass for it. But
No,
I thought,
you.
me? Why would I deserve sass?
You deal the sass. You don't
I
take
deal
that
it,
sass.
yeah. Supply. But I decided to play it. So far, so good. Like, I'm actually really impressed with how they've incorporated the old school, like, 16-bit 2D kind of, like, style. But then it's just, it's very, like, they call it 2D HD, I think. And it's just very, it actually holds up. It holds up. I'm not really thrown off by it or, you know, disinterested by it. In regards to gameplay, you get to select a character at the start, and I went through all the different characters, and then I saw that there's this one, and she's a dancer/whore, and I'm like, yes,
Wow.
yes, that is definitely the character. Primrose is her name,
Right.
and then I'm like, yeah, I'll play the whore. Story of my life. Joking. And then you go into it, and then it just turns out, like, it's not spoilers, it starts off. And so it turns out that her father gets, like, killed when she's a little girl. And for some reason, hooking in life, so being a dancer for money. I'm pretty sure she has sex, too. That's what I'm getting from this story.
Is that implied? Or is that
Yeah, I
just
think it is
something
implied, 'cause-
that's a little bit of spice you're throwing on the narrative to keep yourself interested?
Look, people can prove me wrong, but when you're calling someone your master, and he's telling you, you know, to go, you know, and your ability is to allure, yeah, this game was definitely I think I just chose the most random character. That this was not the story that I was anticipating when I played this, but I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all in for this. So you start off as a dancer for, like, some big bad guy who runs a tavern, and he's got all these other girls. So he's got his girls and stuff like that, but you're his favorite. And then he continues to, like, really, you know, beat you down, like literally beat you down, and then talking about how if you're a good girl, then, you know, you'll be treated well and stuff like that, and then you should go to his cabin once, you know, you're done dancing for the night. And I'm just like, holy shit, like, I was expecting some magical friggin' fantasy journey where I was gonna go to far off lands and
That's
fight.
rapey.
Yeah, I'm getting full SVU right here. Like, this is some Law and Order shit. So
This is the before opening credits Law and Order bit.
Yeah,
where they show all the things that lead up until your Primrose's murder.
exactly, these are my stories. And then, like, once you got a lot of, like, you know, disposition at the start anyway that you've got to kind of click through. And then just before, when you actually go into, like, adventure mode and fighting mode, I was just playing around with my ability, which is allure. So, you know, you kind of, like, give a wink and then blow a kiss and allure any character. And just before I went to go and, you know, chase someone away into a dungeon or whatever, I thought, oh, hang on, let me see if it works on women. So there's this old woman next to me, and I use my ability on my allure, and she goes, yeah, all right, I'm king. And then I'm like,
Nice.
oh shit, yeah, well, I'm like, shit, what do I do with her? Because usually you take them to the tavern. The tavern was closed off because my mission was telling me to go in the cave. I'm like, all right, and I can't get rid of her. So I'm like, all right. So next thing you know, I've got this old lady chasing after me, like, as I chase another guy. And then,
Tell her your apartment's getting painted.
Is there a
Just
reference?
tell her, no, you just can't go back to your place because your apartment's getting painted.
Is this a line that people use?
This is a line I use unsuccessfully.
I don't want you to get high on my fumes.
Yeah.
Well, where are you going if the apartment's getting painted?
I got no idea. Her place, presumably. It's never worked out that way, though.
We'll figure out a new line for you.
Yeah.
So, but the best thing is because she is chasing you, or she is with you the whole time, or whoever you've done it to. When you do hit a fight, turns out you can summon them. So you can be like, hey, I know I was promising some action, but this wasn't the action you were looking for, but can you hop in and do some fighting with me? And they do it. So it actually worked out. Old lady kind of helped me beat some demons.
Nice. Real nice, old lady.
Yeah. So far, that's kind of where I'm at.
It sounds like you got far, but also not really.
No, yeah. Like, I took a few steps forwards, but definitely took a backflip.
So this is the Square Enix title. I didn't see anything about this game before E3, which it was on, and it was definitely on Square Enix's little stage show.
Yeah, I
it
think
was just a tiny little trailer.
Yeah, I think this is like a revisiting anyway. Like I said, I've never played it, and I'm not really into those games. Like, what was the other one that they've kind of like brought back? Is it Legend of Mana? Is that what it's called? Where it's kind of So I think it's like all those are kind of coming back, and they're coming back onto the Switch as well, which makes sense. Like the Switch is probably the perfect platform for those kind of games.
It's where they can get away with the art style, I think.
I think so. It's
very hard to.
it's like get away with it.
Doing it. Yeah, it's very hard to justify doing it on like on an Xbox One or a PS4. But I saw it at E3. I saw the trailer for it. I thought it was very, very typical Bandai Namco title. Square Enix title, sorry.
Yeah. What?
Very typical Square Enix title, and it looked like every kind of Final Fantasy game on the Game Boy Advance, like every Ivalice sort of generation of Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
And just hearing the way you're talking about about Primrose and that character, I was actually just trying to think of an empowered female lead in a Square Enix game. And it took me a while. I eventually got to Terra from Final Fantasy VI, I want to say. But fuck me, it took me a long way there. For like every one of them, there's like 1,000 others that are totally subservient to men in these games.
Yeah, pretty much. But this one was like really just like in your face of like, I'm a dancer for money. Like her whole thing is like, her whole thing is avenging her father. So she has to go to the deep dark underbellies to find these people, these assassins or whatever. But I appreciate that she, no, actually there's a quick see, like she has a lot of like problems. She has a lot of problems, to be honest. She has like flashbacks and everything, but she has a flashback where she's dancing in front of her dad, and because she saw a little girl in the street talking about how she wanted to be a dancer, and there's like, oh, that's an uncivilized job, and I'm just like so she went down this route. Like
I'm really wondering if this is just your interpretation of this person. Like if it's just a very innocent, like the dancer is the dancer in JRPGs is a very, it's like a staple class almost. It's like warrior or mage. Dancers are a class.
I couldn't pick that in D&D, I don't think.
No, it's like JRPGs. It's
just in
like,
RPGs?
Sorry?
Oh, I said just in RPGs.
Yeah,
or just JRPGs.
I think JRPGs more than Western RPGs.
Okay.
But I think like a bard. It's kind of like a bard, but anyway, whatever.
Moves those hips.
Point is, I think it's kind of, I don't want to say it's like more innocent because of that, because it's still creepy. Like what you're saying is very cool. If anyone has,
I really want people to back me up on this one. I know I'm provocative and I know I'm a little crude. I know I'm like the crudest person in the room, but please believe me that this is exactly where the story is going.
Well, let's say if anyone else has a different interpretation of Primrose's, what sounds like opening 5 minutes, please write in. Please write in and let me know.
I'm just more impressed that I took a game style that I don't normally ever play, and I went in there and I found that character. I found that particular character. I probably could have found all the other ones were probably just fine, like, you know, people avenging things and being warriors or educated people, and I picked the whore.
There are 8 characters to choose from, I think. That's why it's called Octopath. Is that correct?
I think there were 8. I didn't count as I scrolled through them. But the other characters were like a bunch of pretty boys. And I don't know. She just seemed appealing. I liked everyone else looked like your token, like, you know, adventurer.
Garden variety,
and then there was
JRPG characters. Yeah, just the sprites.
Primrose looks like Princess Jasmine, like when she's like Slave Jasmine, which is the best kind of Disney princess, mind you.
Right, okay.
But yeah, so I was like, she doesn't even look like she should be adventure. All right, I choose her, and then apparently, that this is where I'm at. So I'm gonna keep playing it because I just want to see how many people I can actually allure to fight for me. But I think for a free demo, I think it's actually good value. I think you get 3 hours with it, so it's on a 3-hour timer. And yeah, if you save and you decide to keep playing, then everything saves over. So
Nice.
Win-win.
Well, keep us posted.
Maybe I will. Keep you posted with my whorish ways, good old Primrose. Will I avenge my dad, or will I just lap dance my way to freedom? Who knows? I've also been playing. I don't know what this is going to say about me. I've also been playing Prison Architect.
I like Prison Architect.
Oh, so you've played Prison Architect? Prism?
I have played Prison
Architect. This is like one of those games where I'm sure a lot of people don't understand why people find enjoyment in it, because it's definitely my kind of game in the sense of like structure, organization. You know,
there are clear goals, right?
Yeah.
There are very clear objectives, and there's a very clear metric for failure if the motherfuckers get out.
Well, yeah.
That's the failure.
But
so
that's your first line of failure. Like there's certain levels of failure with that game, and as I've played it more and more and more, my current one is actually to reduce my the return rate, like the likelihood of them, getting out of prison and then coming back in.
The repeat offenders. That's
right. And I'm sitting at 14%, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not 90?
It's not. No, it isn't 90. You're right.
It's
76% lower than that, in fact, which is a huge decrease from 90. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
And what are the reformed inmates doing with their lives, I wonder?
Well, I don't know, because I do get emotionally invested. Well,
yeah,
right. I do get emotionally invested in some, especially if they have weird looking characters, and then I'll follow them to their parole meeting, and I'm sitting there waiting, and it's like, no, they didn't get parole, and I'm like, oh.
Maybe
but
next time, John.
Yeah, and then I see that he takes a job in the kitchen and he graduates, and I'm like, yes, that's it. That's it. But then you have the assholes that are digging tunnels.
He's involved in like a bad shivving incident. You're just like, come on, Joe, what are you doing, Joe?
And I don't have any understanding of basic like prison security, so I don't understand why when the fight broke out, why one of my security guards were allowed to shoot one of the inmates to death. I don't understand why that was allowed, but it happened in the kitchen.
Probably just needed to restore order. Also, there are knives in the kitchen. I don't know, Ali. I don't understand the prison system in real world, so I can't tell you how it works in a game.
I don't understand it too. But I try to keep them happy. A lot of free time. They're very happy with the warmth. I can tell you that. They're happy with the warmth and the clothing. I can confirm that. They just... The weirdest meter that you have to gauge is their freedom meter. Which I think is a bit of a double-edged sword. Yeah, I want them to want freedom, but they're in prison. I don't understand why that gauge exists.
Well, you don't want them. You don't want them turning out like your boy from Shawshank Redemption, where he gets out, but he doesn't know how to live in society. It's been too damn long. He doesn't understand the world he's in now. And then I forget his name, but he carves his name in right next to where he hangs the rope.
Oh, so Morgan Freeman's character?
No, the other guy. No, it's a supporting character.
Yeah, the little old man.
Yeah, little old man. Yeah, he's been in jail for I don't know, 50 years or something. His whole world's gone by. That's really sad, actually. I don't want to reflect on that.
That was a really sad story.
I like that we're talking to prison warden Ali Hart, Miss Ali Hart, right now.
And I actually have a heart, though, like a heart of gold with these prisoners. I definitely take all my knowledge from Oz, watching Oz.
You're just a dancer with a heart of gold. I love it.
I'm a dancer with a heart of gold. The whore of a heart of gold. They went into,
Ali,
the security system.
You can't write this magic, people.
You can't. You bloody can't. But I'm doing well. Like, I've actually got my save file for Prison Architect as prison that's actually doing good, and that is actually what the save file is called. Just so when I go back to it, I know which prison to play as. Prison that's actually doing good. No one's
prison
broken free.
_G. No one's broken free. No, again,
No.
and that is the true measure of success for a prison. Mm-hmm. Nice one.
So what have you been playing?
Well, I'll start with the sort of new thing that I've been trying, which is Path of Exile.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
I've been hearing the boys talking about this one.
This is a very dense game. I started watching a few Twitch streamers play it, and when you just watch someone else play it, particularly when they're high level, it doesn't really look very complicated. It just looks like a lot of running and a lot of things dying often. So if you ever play Diablo 2, it's effectively Diablo 2, but they just dialed it right up to 11. So you have like a whole range of classes. And then each of those classes, because of how wide the skill tree is, and it is huge, like you should actually Google this thing right now. It's unbelievable. You can actually, from that class, create various sort of subclasses. It's very specific, like very specific combinations of traits that you pick up on that thing will get you this kind of playable character. But you just like Google, I mean, I'm a duelist, so if you Google duelist builds PoE, you'll get hundreds, or not hundreds, but like, you know, a whole bunch, like tens of different ways to build that character. A lot of them are the same with different variations, but there's like a lot of different kinds. It's just crazy. And then it plays again a lot like Diablo 2, so it's kind of like this isometric map where you're just running across it. I don't know if it's procedurally generated like Diablo 2 was. Diablo 2 was particularly like the dungeons, they were always different. I'm not that far ahead, like I haven't really mucked around with it too much to know that just yet. But it's definitely, and I think the guys who were a part of Diablo 2 are part of this. I feel like I heard that somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like they're involved somehow in making this game.
Okay.
It's entirely free. And
What?
Yeah, it's completely free. And it's crazy. Like, it is actually crazy how amazing this game is for free.
Okay, so if it's free, so where's the cost element? Where are they getting the money? Skins?
I haven't
Abilities?
I haven't quite looked at that yet. I'm sure there's probably some in-game operational stuff that you can do, maybe around like character transfers and designs that might cost money. There is definitely a like a sort of market for buying gear, but that is, as far as I can see, player to player. That's not like player to game. So you're not buying the gear from the game, you're buying it from other players. And you can sell your gear as well. You sell it for cents, you know what I mean? But you can still sell it. It's cool. And apparently it's very deep. Apparently it's quite, like there's so much shit to do. And the reason there's a lot of hype around it now is because they've just dropped a whole bunch of new content in there.
Okay.
So
just like open world adventure kind of.
Yeah, you're exiled. This is, and I'm like really not good with lore.
Did you take a path there though?
I did. I wound up on a beach. Here's what I can tell you. This is like, this is my guy. My guy winds up on a beach next to a corpse. I move the corpse and find a sword, and then the corpse becomes a zombie, and I kill the zombie, and then I have to make my way across a beachfront, killing other zombies, until I make my way into like a town where there's refuge. I speak to a lady, she says some things to me, and then I'm on my way again. And that's kind of how I like get through this game. I have no idea about lore. I couldn't tell you a single goddamn thing about what's going on in there. But it is fun.
I mean, that's fair. I appreciate that it's like every other game that's coming out with all the zombie modes. Am I right, people? Gamers?
Gamers, what's up with being a gamer these days? All these zombies, it's crazy. Where are all the zombies?
It's Path of Exile. Am I thinking of another game? Divinity. Is it kind of like Divinity? Because that's the kind of vibes I'm getting from it.
Divinity Original Sin. I think it's not. No, I think Divinity is turn-based. I believe.
Yes.
I believe Divinity is turn-based, and Divinity is very complex. Apparently, Divinity is a lot like playing D&D.
Yes, that is what the
your options
suggested.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because that's what he rolls in, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. All deep in that D&D.
Yeah. That's actually on my to-do list. Someone mentioned to me the other day that they would like to play Divinity with me. And and it wasn't NATO. Thanks, NATO, for not inviting me to the game. You love playing so much. Guess who's not getting invited to my birthday party this year? The other game I was playing...
It's at McDonald's.
He is at McDonald's, motherfucker.
No, your birthday party's at McDonald's. I just
it is at
assumed
McDonald's.
It was kiddyish.
Yeah, it is. I
An
miss
ice cream
that.
cake.
God, that was fun and cheap.
Do they do that anymore?
I'm sure they do. They were doing those birthday parties at North Parramatta McDonald's when they were like, after every Eels game, there would always be a fight at North Parramatta McDonald's. It was kind of like just this agreed to thing, and it was usually between Parramatta Eels people. But they would have kids parties like while there were Eels games going. They didn't give a shit. So I guess so. Like if you can throw a party then, you can throw a party anytime.
Sounds about right.
The other game is World of Warcraft. Blizzard has its hooks so deep in me. It is ridiculous right now. Like, I just bought Battle for Azeroth, the expansion, so I've purchased it, which gives me access to the new the new races. There are 4 new races that you can select from when the game starts, or earlier if you have the requirements to get each of those classes, like the different reputation requirements and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. But you also get to like level a character like immediately to max level at the moment, which is 110. So I did that with the druid. So now I've got 2 level 110 characters, and I've got a whole plan for these guys. These guys are going to take over the whole world of Warcraft. One of them is going to like do all the bitch work, which is like not the bitch, the grunt work. He's actually the legs of the operation. He's the one out there making moves. He's doing all the mining, and he's doing all the herb gathering, the herbalism stuff. That's my druid.
Right.
And when
okay. Drug dealer.
Yeah, basically. But when he's not doing that, his name's Gatherer. When Gatherer is not doing that, he's a healer. And I haven't played a healer class before, and I'm actually really excited to give that a proper try. In BFA, apparently it's really good, so I'm excited for that. But then he's given all that stuff to my main guy, my Death Knight. And my Death Knight's the one who's actually making things. He's the hands of the operation. He's making shit with this, the ore and the herbs. So that's the plan. Now, obviously from there, I'm going to earn a lot of gold. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to be able to play WoW for free, because you can purchase game time with gold. And then when I play WoW for free, I'm going to take all that money that I'm saving on not spending on subscriptions, which at the moment is like $13 or $14 a month or whatever it is. I'm going to invest. And you know who I'm going to invest in, Ali?
What?
I'm going to invest in me, because I am my most important commodity. And that's what you should all do. I have no idea where I'm going with this, but the point is, fuck me, Blizzard has its hooks in me. I cannot believe it. Like, I'm playing hours and hours and hours. I've got like the apps on my phone. I'm sending all my guys out on missions. Like while I'm at work, I'm making very strategic decisions about who does what. They've got like a every class has like a class hall, and it's instanced just for your character. And the whole idea is that your character is kind of the savior of the story, and all of these followers start to follow you, and you can send them out on missions, and they get you like rewards and stuff, little things, but over time, obviously, it builds up to substantial rewards. So my boys are out there fighting the good fight.
Is there some kind of like god complex playing WoW? Or?
No, not quite. I think.
No.
I feel like I'm being used.
Kind of exactly.
I don't know, but I like, there are days where I'm like, I'm just gonna pack up my whole computer. There's a whole world out there that isn't inside of this machine, and my God, it's beautiful, and I want to be part of that world. And then I step outside and I pull out my phone, and I get told that one of my followers is back. I'm like, where the fuck is he going next? And I like bring up all the available missions. I'm like, where is he going to go next? And I realize that it's just taken over.
No, don't worry about the world outside. It's a terrible, terrible place. You are safe. You are warm in front of your PC. I can't say enough good things about the game, really. Like, I think I'm a little addicted at the moment. So take this with like a small pinch of salt. But the game has so much content to get through. Like, there is so many things you can do. I'm doing like my professions. When I'm doing my professions, I'm doing my pet battles, which is kind of like Pokemon fights. And when I'm not doing my Pokemon fights, I'm raiding. When I'm not raiding, I'm, looking at my next character and what they're going to do. And like, it could go on forever. There are things in the game that I didn't even know existed until I started like looking. And like, one of them is this thing called the Brawlers Guild, which is like this series of fights you do
where it's just one-on-one inside of this pit with a bunch of different characters, not like they're all NPCs. And you get this sick mount when you finish it. Now I've got this sick mount. It's like a basilisk. I'm rolling around on a goddamn basilisk. I love this game.
Like when you said it was a brawlers guild, I just thought of like that it was like half naked men just having to like roll around in a room.
No. This isn't Octopath Traveller. This is World of Warcraft, Ali. There's a level of
much
class
more
here
serious game, Ali,
Blizzard,
please.
Yeah, Blizzard aren't known for zany antics like that. Anyway, I don't want to like bore people. It's obviously a really old game. I'm just I can't say enough good things about playing this game right now, and I think it's about where I am in gaming at the moment, where I am as a gamer. It's like I'm so ready to compete and just to like, I don't know, take it. There's like a level of seriousness that comes with playing games like WoW, where it's like you do this to be the best sort of at what you do. Like most people do it for better gear. They do it for like to be, you know, in the best guilds, doing high-end raids and shit. Like that's where I'm at. That's where I am. Yeah, really productive way to spend all of my days.
I guess. Actually, I want to quickly ask, are you still playing Pokemon Go?
I'm not playing it. In that I'm not consciously deciding to not play it. I just, for whatever reason, I'm not playing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll happily open it up. That's a long way around saying yes, I've stopped playing Pokemon Go.
Yes. Yes, I have stopped.
Why do you ask though?
I only just asked because they release like the friend codes and everything like that, and I've noticed now slowly appearing on my Twitter feed all these like, you know,
friend codes. Yeah,
secret players kind of just popping up saying like, "Oh, here's my Pokemon friend code." I'm like, that's funny. I don't recall seeing you talking about Pokemon.
So I don't ask me how, but I was going through my Twitter feed and there's a person on my Twitter feed. Her name's Zoe, and she's all into like Pokemon Go, and she posts some of the most fantastic photos of her Pokemon in like AR shots where they're out in the wild. Like she actually takes some time and, you know, puts it together quite nicely. And I always get so mad when I see this shit because for the life of me, I've never ever been able to get an AR shot to work. It doesn't matter where I am. Like, you know, when you go to catch, you can turn on AR. Like, you go to catch, and I'm just waving my phone around like an idiot trying to find where the Pokemon is. And then a little thing pops up saying, you know, flat surface, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, very flat surface. Nothing. Fucking nowhere. These Pokemon are nowhere. And then you switch it back to normal mode, and it's like right there. And you're like, That
just sounds like a connectivity issue.
Yeah, it could be. It's like everywhere though. I've tried it in like various different places. I'm convinced I think it's a race thing. I don't want to go right out there and say it, but I think it's a race thing.
I guess it could be.
Yeah. What it's racist towards, I'm not sure, but I've got a good feeling about this. I'm usually right about these things.
I like it when I do it and it's in my food. That's when I'm at my most happiest.
Oh, that makes me upset. I want that.
Why?
I want that joy
It's so
of seeing the
cute.
dumb Pokemon in my food and then you take dumb. Anyway, all right. Zoe, keep that shit up if you're listening. And yeah, I guess that's everything I've been playing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we do the news?
This week's news headlines.
Okay, so slow news week tends to happen after E3, I think. Yeah.
It's a lot of like updates, or this game came out, or this, you know, so it's kind of like, hey, you know, this is all this kind of stuff that you were expecting anyway. E3 told you so.
Yeah. First cab off the rank tonight. Ubisoft games are political, says the CEO, just not the way you think. Now, I'm going to have a stab at this guy's name, but I'll let you lead this one in. I think his name is Yves Guillermo. It is Yves Guillermo.
Really? YBS?
Yeah, it's Yves. No, yeah. It's like Yves Saint Laurent. Laurent. I can't say that properly, but you know who I'm talking about.
I do not.
Okay, all right. Well, they know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about, right? Nod your head. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience members. So Ubisoft CEO QU, say it.
Yves Guillermo.
answers recent criticisms that the company has been dodging the political implications of its game, saying they give players the tools to explore issues themselves. As a quote, our goal in all games we create is to make people think, he says. We want to put them in front of questions that they don't want to always ask themselves automatically. We want players to listen to different opinions and to have their own opinions. Our goal is to give all the tools to the players in order for them to think about the subjects, to be able to see things from far enough away. So pretty much this is spawning from the Division 2. There's a lot of like a lot of people saying that, you know, Division 2 is very politically influenced, as well as like other Ubisoft games. You can look at like some Far Cry games that are very
Watch Dogs.
Yeah, that too. I guess I never played that one, but they're suggesting that sometimes Ubisoft kind of sometimes goes for it and then kind of takes a step back, saying, "Oh no, we're not doing any political stance." Or no specific. Well, that's what the CEO is saying now. He's saying, we don't take any specific political stance. We pretty much, you know, we give you a puzzle and, you know, how you decipher it, that's on you. Like,
yeah. It's weird. It's very cryptic. What specifically about the Division 2? Because I didn't play the Division, and all I can seem to pull from the top of my memory is the trailer, all the stuff we saw at E3 recently, and they're talking about how there was like an epidemic, an epidemic from the dollar bills or something. There was like a virus, people wiped out, populations decimated.
Yeah, like essentially like some kind of like terrorist attack where like, you know, like biochemical disease was kind of spread around kind of thing. Yeah,
and I think just from sort of the world that it's setting up, really it's your choices, your moral choices about what you do and don't do in certain situations, and how the game sort of incentivizes those decisions. Like, I actually really don't know where the criticism comes from here. Like,
well, I think it's because a lot of people so with Division 2, apparently, like, this is like, you know, first of all, you're in Washington, so you know you're near the capital, she says, with her lack of knowledge of American history and political places of interest. But you know, it's set there, and the whole thing is I think the addition that there's actually some like I believe like some kind of internal like not army, but like some kind of like counter unit that will be going against your kind of more like your division group. So I think there's like the implication of like government getting involved in this, you know.
There's questions around the setting, like because it's Washington, and Washington DC specifically, and the article also goes on to say, this is a Guardian article we're reading. The article also goes on to sort of talk about how, you know, as a group of rebels, you also take on a Christian militia, which, you know, when you, I see the criticism because there are parallels, particularly in the last 12 months in America. There are very clear parallels with some shit that's happening over there. But at the same time, this is not very different from like Far Cry 5, I think. Like the tone of Far Cry 5 is very different. It's also it's a lot more satirical, but you're still absolutely like, you know, getting deep in the sort of red state. What do you call it? Like, not law, but like just that lifestyle. It's not a fucking lifestyle. What do you call it? Red state, like that whole, I don't know, thing. You know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like it's generally like the flyover states where, you know, there's a general concept of the, well, although it wasn't really much about like being uneducated, but more being influenced by religions, and then also, you know, misinformed attitudes of how a governance should be run, especially in small town, and who's welcome and who's not. So it was meant to be a cult. Anyway, like they were more culty than anything.
I don't appreciate the double take on this though. I think it's important for art forms to, not always, obviously, but it's important to like sort of have a view. Because if you don't have a view, then you're not really showing anyone anything, and like people aren't really gonna. I find it hard to. His point here is that like movies can take a stance on things, books can take a stance on things. They can tell a story, they can tell a perspective that you're not used to perhaps seeing. But games let you do one better, and that games let you choose your own because games are interactive. And I think that's a bit of bullshit. Because if you're giving people the choice, surely you're just going to get them to sort of zero in on what they already know. I feel like it's very wishy-washy.
Definitely wishy-washy. A lot of people are actually, like, there is a criticism of Ubisoft by saying that in not saying that they're taking a specific stance, they're just leaving themselves open so they don't disgruntle a certain group of people for their sales of their game. So they don't, and take an actual stance.
Yeah.
They're just, they're leaving it open book. So,
But it's like if you're just picking a city, why pick that city? You know what I mean? I've never been to America, but I know there are a lot of cities over there. And it doesn't have to be Washington, D.C. that you set as the setting for your dystopic game. Your game where, people are making very hard decisions about how to get by hour to hour.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, they're definitely, like, not... They definitely have an agenda with all the games that they've been releasing where they, it's like, come on, how stupid do you think we are when the games and the environments that you're setting up are definitely a criticism or critique on the environment of today and the, issues of today.
Yeah.
Like, whether they should have to take a stance, like a definite stance of saying, yeah, this is what we're trying to say, I guess they're free to do whatever they want. As long as they're saying that they're giving you the option to interpret it, then... I guess we have to see that.
On the in the news, there's actually a theme. I didn't realize this when we put our agenda together, but there's a very clear theme between the three big items we're talking about this week, and that is sort of end of the world, I think. So the other bit of news, or the second bit of news that sort of leads into our theme this week is We Happy Few. We Happy Few, which is due for release soon, I believe. It was recently banned by the Australian Ratings Board. They basically refused classification in Australia, which means that the game can't be distributed here. And after being petitioned, are now reviewing the initial decision to refuse classification. So they're going to take another look at it, whether or not they're going to let it in the country. The reason that they didn't let it in was about the drug use in the game. So if you haven't seen this game, or if you haven't heard, it's basically this world where it's like a really Orwellian sort of place. I think it's London that it's set in, and it's this world where people take happy drugs. I forget what they're called in the game, but you take these drugs, and it's basically like a mind control agent. And in the game, if you actually choose to take these drugs, it actually lowers the difficulty. So it sort of incentivizes you to take these pills in a certain way. You could see it as incentivizing, or you could probably argue that it's incentivizing you not to if you want a more challenging... who knows? I don't care. The point is, it's obviously not painted positively, these drugs. These drugs are the issue with the game. But just based on that, ARB were like, no, we don't want that in Australia. We don't want our kids, doing drugs because they think it's easy, or whatever the big wigs up at ARB say. The petition, the ARB. Fuck the ARB. Like, how many games are they going to really ruin? Seriously.
I just don't understand, like, it's like now they're taking the stance and putting their foot down. Like, they were going to stop Detroit Become Human because of the scenes of, like, well, I think they were referring to it as, like, child abuse or, like, aggression with, like, against children.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for that scene, so it wasn't, like... I wanted to see what was so bad, like why, like, and I don't, like, this is where it comes from, where I say I don't understand why is, like, there's certain things that are out there, that are out in the system that they haven't even attempted to ban, that are a bunch of times worse than these things that they're actually picking up on, like.
It really is. But it draws attention to it in a weird way as well. I think a lot of this stuff, I feel like I'm desensitized to. I can see really graphically violent things now, and unless it's like huge, like unless it's like Antichrist, like that fucking crazy Lars von Trier film that ruined me when I watched it a few months ago, I can tolerate it. It's weird how that kind of draws attention to these moments though, when what seems sort of arbitrary, especially when you consider it amongst like the wide world of games, when you think of all the games you've ever played and all the moments in all the games you've ever played and how like effed up things can really be. They draw it to like that one thing. The petition to repeal this sort of ban and get the game reviewed again are just arguing quite correctly and contextual, like bringing context to the situation, just to say that this game is portraying drug use in a really negative way because the drugs are actually mind-controlling agents. And I think it's really cheap to sort of look at just how the game and the mechanics, or the story and the mechanics work together to tell a really interesting tale. Because I think it's really interesting the way that they work with the difficulty setting. It's not too dissimilar in my mind from the Fractured But Whole, which I can't believe that didn't get a look at all by the ARB about how the skin color of your character can determine the difficulty setting in the game. That's commentary, obviously, and contextually that is really clever commentary. But this just really seems to be a bit of hysteria, I think, from I don't want to like blame old people, but it seems like what your grandma would complain about, if you know what I mean.
You know what? Big shout out to the developers of We Happy Few, that their game got enough of a enough attention that the ARB actually focused on it. But then it really goes to show like at what are they just reading like a little synopsis of what the game's about or whatever? Is that how they judge it, or do they watch playthrough? Because it just really seems like they're ill-informed. Like,
well, let me put this to you. It's a really weird time at the moment in video games where all of a sudden we're talking about how people emulate the things that they're seeing and experiencing when playing video games. And obviously, the two big drivers of this, I think, are Fortnite and obviously the I don't know if you'd call it like the increase in gun violence in America, or just gun violence in general in America, and the spotlight that it's had in the last 12 months. But this is really it. It's these two driving forces: PUBG, Fortnite, and then gun violence and emulation. I think that draws more attention to how we consume games as a medium, and this is just kind of like it's a red flag. Drug use is a red flag in general, and if you buy into the idea that people will do what they see, like the fucking ludicrous idea that people are going to do shit because they did it in a video game, then you can kind of see where people will sort of bend, or maybe will sort of make a call that they wouldn't necessarily agree with,
You know what? Yeah. I agree. I think that's a very fair statement, because I've got to be honest, after playing Octopath Traveller, I did decide to actually go to the streets and start dancing for money.
Oh, Ali.
I thought that was actually going to be a good option for me, because it seemed like that's the way to redeem yourself in life.
As a life lesson. Really, Ali? That's crazy, because I went outside with my pickaxe and started hacking at the local mine, just getting a little bit of ore just to take home and craft into some new boots that I can take down to Melbourne with me this weekend. It's ridiculous. And I don't know. Anyway, it's scapegoating. I think all gamers agree. And
definitely.
Yeah, that's it. Let's leave it at that. The last little thread of end of the worldism. This one's kind of cool. I like this one. I like talking about this subject too. AI. It's AI, everyone's favorite way to end humanity. A company is actually developing the perfect AI for DOTA 2. which will ideally be able to outplay humans, any human in any situation, not too dissimilar from the way that I forget the name of the program, but like the way they did it with chess, so that now chess is completely like cracked. You cannot play chess against AI and win if the AI is actually playing at like harder setting, because there's only, I read, 35 different moves you can make at any time, and it knows what you're going to do. If you do this and then that, it'll just get you.
God damn.
I know. Isn't this cool? No, this is a company called OpenAI. It's a research lab. And I just want to call out like a couple of metrics that a couple of things that they have to work with here, challenges they have to overcome basically. And this is kind of this is really, I think, like an indictment of just how far this has come. So in chess, like I said a moment ago, there's about 35 different moves you can make at any time. So between moves, which however long there is between that, like between your moves, however much time there is between that, there are 35 different actions you could take, and it has to compute based on what you do, what the next 35 are, and what the best move to make is. At any given moment in a game of Dota, at any frame, between frames, there's about 1,000 different actions a player can take, apparently. 1,000 different ways you could move, 1,000, like, that's everything. Attack, leave, teleport, whatever. It's amazing. So it's got to sort of work that out frame by frame by frame to then work out how to beat you. They're trialing this at the moment. And I think it's great.
Do you really?
I do. What are you worried about? Are you worried that the AI is going to learn Dota and then come and murder everyone, or like?
Yeah, that's exactly AI, it. Like any AI Dota player, this one's actually going to like go through with its actions of telling you that it's going to, kill my family because I was such a shit player.
It really is AI emulating what happens in video games that we need to worry about more than people, I think. It's not. It's cool, I think.
So. The question is it learning from itself, or is it just something that they've kind of inputted into the system? Like, it's just straight up someone's kind of programmed all possible options, or are they, like, because I think from what I remember reading of a blurb was that they were learning to work together, like, in the game. Like, AIs were learning to work together as a team to defeat the humans.
Look, I don't know specifically how they're doing it. Typically, the way you develop AI, you train basically what's called a neural network, and you train it by getting it to experience what it needs to do, if that makes sense. The simplest way I can sort of explain it is with chatbots. So if you've spoken to a chatbot recently, there's a strong chance that it wasn't actually a real person. Like if you're just going through a company or whatever. And the way they train those is that they'll basically feed a bunch of scripts into the chatbot to sort of show how conversations have gone before, and it can then work out what like the most appropriate answer is based on the thousands and thousands and thousands of conversations that it's been trained to follow. So they'll typically, I mean, that's one example, and a lot of other tools like AI tools work very similarly. So I imagine it'd be something like that. It'd have to be. The article, like the title of the article, is AI trains for thousands of years to master Dota 2. So I can only imagine that that's sort of just a bunch of simulations just running and running and running. But it's cool. I think it's cool. I think people, my dream is that no one has to work, that AI does everything for us, and that we can all just kind of like venture around the world and do whatever we want.
Have you played Detroit Become Human yet?
No, I haven't actually.
I guess that this is where my concerns kind of stem from. So.
Well, we need to be active. I'm sure I can guess at some of the questions in Detroit Become Human. I've actually avoided a lot of Detroit Become Human because I do intend to get around to it eventually. But yeah, we've got to be active. We can't be passive about how this technology is developing because it's doing it anyway. So you've got to be part of this conversation, or else you're going to be taken over by the robots. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, look, after playing Detroit Become Human, there's nothing that I want more than like an attractive android just like hanging out and just doing whatever I ask them to. And then knowing that like they're accepting of who I am and all the sass and bitchiness that comes with it, and they're like, yeah, Ali, I'm still cool with you, and I'm like, thanks, get me a drink. But then
you just
fact that
you just want like a plaything. That's what you want, Ali.
Isn't that what we all want? I mean,
fair
really,
point. Very
when
fair
androids
point.
when androids come along, when the big tit booty bloody androids come out, everyone will be getting those. I mean, why not?
Actually, on that note, go to #me.co.nz, I think it is. I'll get that link in a moment. But
What?
friend to 8-Bit in the podcast, Fid did an article recently. I think it was Fid. It was either Fid or Carice. I think it was Fid. Fid did an article recently after going to Sexpo and talking to the creators of a sex robot. So,
Ooh.
very interesting read. Give it a crack. Anyway.
Well, my point being is, like, as much as I have a keen interest in this, like, wonderful future of androids and everything like that, I worry about fast progression, and I still feel this is a little bit fast for me. I don't know, maybe I'm an old woman, but I'm just scared, like that one twang where, like, someone's forgotten to do something, or they've gotten a little bit too enthusiastic, and like they're deciphering movements within frames, like they know what's the next move, kind of thing, like that. So it's like we're not even going to be tricking androids
at this point in time. You might as well be talking about Dracula. Like, what your visualization of like this sentient robot thing is purely fictional. Don't worry, it will treat you right when it comes around.
They know how to open doors, Sam. Robots know how to open doors. Okay.
That robot that opened the door looked particularly scary. I'll give you that.
It does.
It did look
It's just
particularly
like
end of the worldy.
gangly frame, like
It looked a lot like
"Ugh."
it looked a lot like that Black Mirror episode with
Never
the
seen it.
robot. Oh my god, you gotta watch. Dude, you've got to watch it. There's an episode. It's like purely saturated in like black and white, and it's all about the end of the world from these AI robots that are like indestructible. You should check it out.
How on topic.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe this will solve my problem of never being able to find someone to play a game with online. If we just put like all these really smart AI bots in and they can just play games with me instead.
You'll never know the difference.
I will never know the difference.
How do you know if I'm AI, Ali? What if I'm AI and you just don't know? They've gotten so good, and you were incubated, and you only find out right now if you choose to believe me. Red pill or blue pill? What's it gonna be?
I'd probably give some like heartwarming test where I say something really, really sweet, something very kind and, you know, heartfelt to you. And if the response is like, oh, I feel the same way too, Ali, I'm like, fucking Android. Kill it.
Yeah, but we're learning, and now I know the right answer to say is not that.
Oh, shit.
No. Anyway, that is the news for this week. Very, very on point, I think, this end of the world thing. I'm kind of happy, even though that was a little accident. So we are now going to look at the iTunes review of the week.
iTunes Review of the Week.
I like this iTunes review of the week. This is someone who gets it, I think. This is someone who just really, really gets it. This is coming to us this week from Viva La Dill. The review, sorry, I forgot what I was reading from here. The review says #stay hungry, 5 stars. Thank you very much, Viva La Dill. And he or she goes on to say, I should say, I don't know if emojis work on iTunes reviews, but if they did, I'd give this a solid hands in the sky hype ×5.
I think I know which emoji that is.
I know, everyone knows that emoji. It's the best emoji.
Oh, really?
It's the emoji you see anytime someone says something empowering or awesome or just wants to give praise.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm picking up what you're putting down, Viva La Dill. I too wish you could use emojis in iTunes reviews, because I've really learned how to articulate myself lately using emojis. And I think I've come up with one that no one, like an emoji combo that no one's using. It's a secret emoji combo that no one knows about. I'll share it with everyone right now, though, because I want to see it take off. You know how there are fists, like one fist pointing left, one fist pointing right, Ali?
Yes.
Maybe you see where I'm going with this. Fist bump. Fist bump. I'm not seeing this anywhere. I might be looking in the wrong corner of the internet, but I want to see more fist bumps out there. And Viva La Dill, if you had your own iTunes account, I'd go and review you and give you a fist bump too. Thank you so much for the iTunes review.
Well, he just might. Dylan from Explosion Network.
It is too. Oh my god. Oh, there you go. Dylan, guess who's getting a fist bump on his fucking review? You, buddy.
Getting a good old fist bump.
You're going to get it first, and you're going to hear this second, and then you're going to get it. Then you're going to understand.
If I want my own emoji, I always have to put them next to each other. It's like the really sus smiley face looking to the side. But then I also put a cup of tea next to it, which is kind of like my sassy fucking emote. So I need that cup of tea in front of the dodgy smiley face because that's pure sass.
What if you did my walls are getting painted, that face, cup of tea?
They probably think I was on my period.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's end the podcast on that.
I would never have gone there. Now you two can leave a review by heading over to iTunes and dropping some love there. It is, of course, the thing we love to see, and it lets us know that someone out there, somewhere out there, just someone out there is listening and hopefully loving, much like Viva La Dill, who's about to get a fist bump. Dylan from the Explosion Network. Apologies for not identifying that in the start. I'm a shit person. But
I got you, Dylan.
You two can do that, and maybe I'll come over to your wall, Twitter account, Facebook, whatever, and give you a left fist, right fist bump.
Or paint it.
Or paint the walls, whatever. So feel free to go there. You can also see us at Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify now. And
Google?
I think, Google's got a little...
now?
Yeah, I think Brendan's done all the paperwork. He's filled in the forms. He sent that off to Mr. Google himself to get that sorted out. Go there. Now you can also go to 8bit.net to check out more from the 8bit family, and if you are on Twitters and any of the socials, hit hashtag 8bit collective to find all of the amazing shows that are part of this podcast network. Shows like... I could name one, Ali, but I'm kind of... Sorry, my hand, you can't see it from the camera. I'm pointing to you. I'm gesturing to you now, Ali. Give me one show.
Oh, from the 8-Bit Collective?
From the 8-Bit Collective.
Well, we have Dash Culture. We have House of Mario. Mm-hmm. We have a wrestling thing, wrestling podcast, which I've actually been kind of snooping into.
8-Bit Mania.
As WWE is slowly coming to the shores of Melbourne. So definitely keep your eye out on 8-Bit Mania. I Speak Giant. Putting in Work.
Forever Movie Boys.
Forever Movie Boys.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And I'm sure there's more, and we've totally offended one podcast that we didn't mention. Whoever that is.
That is how extensive the bloody network is, guys.
You've got to go to
check that hashtag.
To see it. Yeah. But do go check them all out. They're all fantastic podcasts. They're all very different podcasts as well. It's not all gaming. Some of it's wrestling, some of it's movies, some of it's D&D, some of it's like this, some of it's that, some of it's current affairs. And you should listen to the current affairs. We sort of hit some of that shit tonight, Ali. We got really political tonight.
We really did.
This might have been a sub episode of It Is What It Is. Sorry, Cruz, for stealing your show.
Don't think he feels threatened at all.
No.
At all.
We just don't have them hot takes like he does. So that is it for another week. Is there anything special you want to drop? Anything you want to plug, Ali?
I actually have nothing to plug, so you can just check me out on the social medias at Miss Ali Hunt.
Okay, and you can find me at Saleem TD. One thing I will plug, so that sex robot article interview that I mentioned, it is in fact hashtag me.co.nz. It's a brilliant little tech online tech magazine, so go and check them out. The other thing as well is we have the AGPN sort of Melbourne meet and greet this weekend down in Bartronica in Flinders Lane in the heart of Melbourne. Fantastic little gaming bar. If you want to come by and see some of us there, you can. The AGPN's the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. It is all about podcasting and games and hobbyists getting together and just talking about the creative medium that we love. So if you want to come by, feel free to come and do that. Ali laughs to herself because she knows that we're not really there to talk. We're there to drink. We're there to party. We're a party
Pretty
animal.
much.
We're a party animal crew.
We're there to fist bump and paint your walls.
And on that note, I think we will wrap up for another week for episode 109. Much love.
Stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.